The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello there, back with another summer update. Dan here with Michael and somebody new to introduce you to in just a moment or two. Should we introduce the listener/viewer? It's on YouTube and in your podcast app, to our favourite law firm. Could you guess who it is? Do you want me to give you a clue?
I don't think it needs an introduction as such.
Do you know the word Elvis? Are you familiar with anagrams? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rearrange those letters.
Levis.
Correct, almost. Yeah. LeviSolicitors.co.uk/the square ball for a 10% discount on your legal fees. Michael, have you got any services you'd like to plug in particular?
Just the usual three. Wills, probate, conveyancing.
Very
and
good.
others if you want to look at the website.
They do have a website, LeviSolicitors.co.uk for details. /the square ball helps us. New person. Hello, Dean.
Not that
Hello.
new. You just weren't here at the same time before.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
New to you, but not to this studio.
Yeah, so Dean's going to be doing some stuff with us over the course of this coming season. Welcome aboard.
Yes, thank you.
Dean sat in for me in April when I was off, and we're here to talk about...
Did a better job, truth be told.
Whoa. That's...
It's all right, though. It's fine. We're keeping you on.
Thanks, mate. I feel valued. 32 days until we play Portsmouth at the time of recording, so it's Tuesday afternoon. That's exciting, isn't it? You ready for it? It's only a month away.
Yeah, I'm a bit bored now.
Yeah, especially watching England. It doesn't half give you the drive to get back into Ellen Road and see some, dare I say, proper football.
Football I care deeply about. I think that's what I'm craving. As much as I've enjoyed watching games in the Euros, although I feel like I enjoyed the first week, it's dried up a bit. I don't feel I've not seen many brilliant games.
It's not been a great tournament, though, has it? Overall,
not really.
There's been very little to engage, and England like somehow making it through to the semi-finals.
I don't know. I used to dream of getting to semi-finals for England. Now we're here, and I'm like, ugh.
It's been strange. Won a penalty shootout against the Swiss. Has Gaetano Berardi stopped answering our phone calls now? Bless him.
No, not to you guys, surely.
No.
But I don't know if you guys had the same reaction when the penalty went in. I was unmoved. I basically didn't respond to it. If that had been a Leeds United penalty to win 5-3 in a quarter final, I'd have still been drunk. But I think because that was England, I don't know what it is, why it is that I have that sort of slightly dispassionate relationship with the England team.
I'm the same, but I have to admit, I kind of went, yeah, but it quickly passed.
I'm a bit of a glory supporter with the truth be told, because basically when we went behind, I kind of went, oh well, it's the end of that. Stupid. Whatever. Then we scored. I was like, "Yeah, we're going to win it still."
Football's coming up.
But I was glad we won, and it was,
I was glad we won.
They were good penalties.
But what I mean is, I don't have anything like the same emotional tie.
No, I don't really.
No. If we'd have gone out, it wouldn't have ruined anything past the next 5 minutes, I would have said.
No, I remember like the England-Germany Euro 96 semi-final at Wembley. That was the same night as my sixth form leaving do in 1996, and. Yeah, it was absolutely devastating. It completely took the shine out of a proper party night. But kind of this same tournament, so many years on, if we lose on Wednesday, I'll be like, it's a shame. Never mind.
I was pleased, I suppose, there's certain individual elements I was pleased with. I was pleased Saka scored because it's not exactly the Stuart Pearce redemption arc of Euro 96 where he's missed one, comes back because, he was a teenager and he missed a penalty. These things happen. He should have David batted it and just not given a shit completely. But, it was nice to see him score, I suppose. But we'll see how we go. My instinct has always been in this tournament, we'll lose to the first good team we play. And Switzerland I thought might be about that level of good, where they just beat us. But
tried the best. Tried the best to lose
maybe
it.
It's the Netherlands instead.
Well, it's the Netherlands on Wednesday. Before that was Spain versus France. But France haven't been great in this tournament either.
Spain have been genuinely good, actually. They've been the ones, and they've got that child playing from who's ridiculous.
Yeah, you'd have them as the hot favourites for it, wouldn't you? But anyway, to Leeds matters. Are you glad to see the big homecoming? The big signing? It's the same joke everyone's making. Alex Cairns is what I'm on about. Sorry.
Alex Cairns. Now, this gave me a little bit of PTSD because I was at the Blackpool game, the only game he's ever played for Leeds, where Roca got pulled at half time. And so just seeing his name and seeing him in Leeds branded stuff, it gave me a little tiny shiver down the old spine there.
Very much a sign-in to help with the homegrown players rule. But it just did lead me onto the thought of the life of the third keeper, which I think we've kind of touched on before in shows before, of what a charmed life that is. Like your Scott Carson at Man City.
Yeah.
I saw people retweeting Tom Heaton when he'd done a tweet saying, I'm delighted to re-sign for Man United for another season. And everyone was like, I thought, has he been there?
Is he still?
But he's been away, he's done other stuff, but then he's got old and thought, oh, well, fine. I mean, I'm with Cairns.
How's he 31?
I do feel a bit sorry for him because I feel like 31 is your prime for a goalkeeper and he should be playing somewhere. And presumably he's not come back here to be first choice.
No, well, third choice you'd imagine, wouldn't you? But decent wages, nice life. It's not that bad, is it? I'd do it.
From Donny, isn't it? Can move back to Donny if that's a benefit. I don't know if it is.
Maybe it's just a rescue mission to get him out from underneath the plastic scum house that is Salford City Reds, just to get him away from the class of '92 and get him back into the homelands.
He must know Sam Byram still.
Yeah,
two of them sitting out there,
a pal to hang around with,
seeing out their careers back where it all began.
It's the 31-year-old thing that it blows my mind. The passage of time blows my mind.
Well, did you see Rob's tweet, which was that Alex Cairns has aged so that Sam Byram doesn't have to?
Yeah.
Which is a great observation.
He does have a very young-looking face, actually, does Sam Byram, doesn't he?
Oh, completely. He's unchanged.
Yeah.
There were pictures of him when he was from his Bebo account where he basically looks the same as he does now.
Yeah. Whereas Charlie Cresswell, we've always said, carries himself with the air of a middle-aged man, and he'll be doing that in France for a few million quid. That tasty 100% PSR profit for Leeds United Football Club.
I think we reported this as not happening last week.
Time, yeah.
But good luck to him, I suppose.
Yeah. Strange. Why did he never make it at Leeds?
Don't know. I suppose from a football point of view, he always looked a little bit slow potentially. But then I've seen loads of slow centre backs over the years, and he wasn't exceptionally slow. Like I've seen Paul Butler and Sean Gregan and who else was terrible? Scott Wotton. I think he was just terrible actually, rather than slow. It was just, but I think he had enough. I thought to have been a championship player. I thought when we went down, he'd probably get a chance, but he never did. And then obviously there was this falling out with, I suppose you would call it a falling out, wouldn't you, with Farke, where he had to sort of say, wind your big neck in last season. But I suppose it's not bad money, is it, for someone who's not really played for us?
Yeah, you've got to get you assume Farke just doesn't fancy him. Yeah,
and I think he's been a bit of a victim of expectation. I think when he started to come through with the Cresswell name as well, I think a lot of people thought, well, he's going to be our number 5. He's going to lead the charge. He's going to be our captain for many years, and just hasn't materialised.
No.
And maybe because we've said on a physical level he's looked ready for quite a while. If maybe that pushed him ahead of other people for a time, but then he's reached a technical level where he's not improving enough. This is all complete speculation because we've not actually seen him play, have we? At all. In fact, for any decent run of games. But good luck to him, I suppose. And as you say, it's all bankable profit, which is
it's exciting, isn't it?
And I suppose he can come back to us when he's like in his 30s and we need another homegrown player.
Yeah.
So the cycle continues.
I was going to say it's quite telling that here on the sheet, like so underneath his name, I've got Diego Llorente in our notes, and of the 3 points that I've made, one of which is PSR neutral, no doubt, which I suppose is about where we're at with a lot of these players that were signed. That we're basically with him and Marc Roca, because he's going to live in Betis with Marc Roca. They've picked up players we've spent the best part of 28 million quid on for about 7 or 8, something like that in total, and people go, oh, bloody hell, that's a bit of a hit. But ultimately, if we get his wage bill his wages off the wage bill, and you end up PSR neutral on what his value is, then fine. It's just another problem solved, isn't it?
It's not like either when occasionally people have run down the contracts, like when Gradle went with not a huge amount of time left, Howson went with not a huge amount of time on his contract, and you go, oh, we've kind of been ripped off here because of the contractual situation or whatever. With these two, you go, oh, because maybe people had big wages in the past. If you're going to go back to like Robbie Keane era or whatever, it's like, well, we kind of got to let him go. With these two, I think to get anything from him feels decent, given what we've seen.
But there is part of me that will miss a little bit Diego Llorente. There was something that was quite calming about seeing him behaving like a spider leaving a helicopter when he was trying to defend, his legs flailing everywhere. There's something quite exciting about that. And certainly a lot more exciting than having to talk about PSR neutral. I mean, I'm fully aware it's part of the landscape now, but like talking about 18-year-olds as pure profit and these two Spaniards as being PSR neutral, I'd prefer to see him sliding around the penalty box, have something to cheer about or not.
I mean, that's a good thing about Llorente. There's always that thrill of not quite knowing what was going to happen.
There was a bit of him, me sort of thinking, what if he actually plays for us again? Because I think it might have worked in the Championship. When you don't have to defend much. Think about last year when we were at our worst and we were just passing it around the back. Llorente used to love a charge out of the back.
Yeah, and try and thread it through the lines.
Yeah, he'd pick it up, he'd charge forward 20 yards, then he'd hit a really dangerous pass. Dangerous often for us, to be clear.
But then again, just going back to Cresswell, he did that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Didn't he? That sort of mad rush of, I'm going to carry it out of here, make something happen.
Yeah, he did that start of the year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Who was it against when he came on? And it looked like he didn't entirely know what he was doing.
I can't remember. It was one of the early home games, wasn't it? Was it a League Cup game? Can't remember. But anyway,
yeah, I know we saw a little bit of him then. But yeah, there was a bit of me thinking, well, if we see Llorente again and he's actually all right. But equally, I'm glad to completely divorce myself from these players, because knowing there was a chance of them coming back when they were on loan and you were on the hook for their wages, sort of, but they'd probably get a move because their wages were lower than Premier League wages. And it was just it just felt like a distraction last year, was not knowing where these players were. So to get some of them fully out of the door fairly early on, it feels like there's a lot less mess around the squad now.
Yeah.
If I was starting a new game of Champ Manager, my squad wouldn't look too big now. That's what I'm saying. Whereas you go on, there's all different colours because of the people out on loan. It's complicated.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how Daniel Farke works.
Right, yeah, just goes on Champ Manager.
Yeah.
But I was going to say there's been a sort of a low bubble of something on a personal level that maybe means he either doesn't want to be around here, or it would suit him to have a new start or something like that. So if he needs that as well, then good luck to him.
Well, here's a question, right? Has he played a single minute of football for Leeds United since signing that great new contract under Victor?
Yeah, the logic of centre back values going up and that being the justification for that is a bit weird, isn't it? Because all it's done is it's essentially committed us to a lot of wages for a lot longer when we could have shipped him out. But then again, you're losing him in the same way we lost Robin Koch. So I don't know what the right way forward is at this point. But
it seemed a gamble, did the new contract. Well, the new contract apparently had happened quite a way before it actually was announced. And then by the time it was announced, I think he'd gone from being a bit shaky to being catastrophic.
Yeah.
But then they started to announce it was a new contract, and everyone was like, what have you done that for?
Mind you, that happened with Luke Ayling's renewal when he got his most recent renewal, didn't it, as well? Apparently that went through some time before, like he'd automatically qualified for it based on, I don't know, appearances or whatever, but they just sat on it and didn't tell anyone until he had a good couple of appearances.
Luke Ayling's different, though.
Yeah, special.
Because Luke Ayling, no one would have begrudged him it, whereas when Llorente was given his new one, everyone was like, have you seen him play recently? It's been catastrophic, but... where he fits in league, he had a good half season, didn't he? Basically, that first Premier League season, he looked really good for the second half of it, and then less so.
All the bad stuff happened. Yeah. It always felt strangely unknowable to me, Diego Llorente. There was just something about it. Maybe it was that slight madness of him at centre half, where you looked at him, and you thought, I don't quite know what's going on there in your mind.
I think of him more fondly than Roca, if we're going to pair the two of them.
100%.
Is that because he's got a little bit of credit in the bank, whereas Roca was just in a team that got relegated?
Well, and as well, for me, whenever Llorente scored, he went insane. And I always like that about a player, where it looks like it means a lot to them. Or there's just a big release because he's not in his own box. I don't know what it was. But there was Roca, as far as I'm concerned, just never got it. Whereas at least Llorente had that madness, which is inherent within us all, I'm afraid.
And I think Roca probably suffered as well from coming into the Jesse Marsh team primarily and being Victor Orta's brag was selling Calvin for X amount, getting Marc Roca for a fifth of that or whatever, and hadn't he done well? And no, he hadn't, because he didn't do anything. He was weird. I saw him when we first saw him in pre-season. I thought he was going to be good. Like he seemed to be. He could pass very well.
Bit of bite about him.
Yeah, he flew into a few tackles. I thought he was probably going to get some red cards, but I was willing to accept that. But then the actual reality of him was just some shit corners and jogging about slowly.
Yeah, everyone does like a berserker, don't they?
Yeah.
Somebody who's, if you're going to pick up the odd card here or there, people like it. People like meaty challenges because they've all but been eliminated. So yeah, I did think similar. I had higher hopes for him than I think he ever delivered. But I mean,
that's what pre-season is for, though, isn't it? Seeing people for the first time and going, this Sam Benedicic looks all right, won't mind a bit of him. And then 5 games in, you're going, oh, right.
Yeah, and just to tidy up the ins and outs, Sam Greenwood, we've been doing player reviews, haven't we, over on the members show? But the way that we've recorded them, we've got quite a few in the bank ahead of stuff happening. So, for example, we reviewed Archie Gray, who is now being sold, and then we have done Sam Greenwood, and we said we thought he'd end up somewhere in the northeast-ish. Maybe he'd end up at Sunderland, but it's actually Preston on loan for the season.
It's the same ballpark, isn't it? That sort of probably fringes of the playoffs, Northern Championship-y team. Is this the last year of his contract, or has he got more? I've got a feeling we might have offered him a slightly longer deal.
Is that the zone we're in with a lot of these players? We're just counting down contracts. Feels like we are, doesn't it?
A lot of them are clearly written off, but from a footballing perspective at Leeds, but it's just what's the best way of getting him out for the year.
I had high hopes when we got relegated for Sam Greenwood. I thought there'd be something really interesting to see if the drop in level could see his potential come up. Because when he first came and he was in the under-21s and he was taking free kicks left foot, right foot, and he's got a horrible little face. And I thought I really fancied that in the Championship. Lovely little face, but it looks like a little bastard. And I thought we could do with a bit of that in the Championship to kind of squeeze our way out of it. But I don't think he pulled up any trees at Middlesbrough, so maybe Preston's probably the right level.
It looks a bit like the sort of horrible bastard who might bother you outside the co-op though as well.
Yeah.
There's definitely a bit of that.
What is he in tracksuit bottoms, kind of monster in his hand? You've been socially judgmental now, yeah.
Just yelling at him and stuff, yelling at people, and that as they're on the way in with his mates.
People pointing at the fringe. What?
Or the guy at school that would run around pulling everyone's ties into those tiny little knots, just rag the tie down.
Peanutting him.
Peanutting him, that's the phrase, yes.
But yeah, school bully, Sam Greenwood.
Overall then, like very few incomings at the minute. People at that point in the cycle where they're alarmed at the sort of threadbare nature of the squad, potentially expecting a couple more departures and need to see some people coming in. Are you worried at all at this stage, or are you just happy to let it play out?
Well, it's looking a bit thin. It's the only thing, particularly because, as you say, the news is more around Kamara, Nonto, some of all the people the people we maybe expected there to be links for, and Glenn Kamara, I suppose. Grove was linked with moves earlier in the summer, so it still feels like most of the first team is potentially up for grabs, other than the people we signed last summer.
Are you worried, though, about the way that we started last season, which took a lot of time to get the squad finalised and bedded in? It ran to effectively September. So are people right to be concerned because that happened last year and it arguably cost us automatics in the end?
I think so. I think what you want to see is you want to see the club on the front foot, especially after having to basically, sounds like sacrifice Archie for money purposes. You want to see us out there going and getting targets and building the squad instead of it's only trimming the fat really at this point, apart from Archie. But I think if the season started tomorrow, you'd see a lot of names that aren't first team regulars on the bench, and that would hark back to the time when Bielsa was having to name 15-year-olds on his bench, and then we know how that ended. So I think it's not cause for concern just yet, because like you said, we are 32 days away from the start of the season. But I'm not even seeing us linked with anyone at this point. So I think there does need to be a point where that narrative shifts, and we are seeing us linked with people, and we are seeing us putting in offers for people, and we are seeing the likes of the interest in Kamara and Gruev and Rutter falling off a little bit. But you say you'd like it, Michael, if the season started on your new Championship manager save. But I mean, we've only got 2 centre backs.
Yeah, there is that. I like them both though,
and that's what's important.
I think Rodon and Strauch, that's a very good Championship pairing, I would say.
Yeah, and you factor in, who is it as well? Like Verber's still here technically.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot about him.
Oh yeah,
we've still got Verber and Christensen, haven't we?
Yeah, but you also factor in Ampadu as a centre back at this stage until you know otherwise.
Yeah, I suppose the thing is with the links, it's interesting because over the years the links came from, well, apart from the made up ones, would come from like local press. So like Phil would link something, and it feels like the local press are getting nothing anymore, because like to the point where when Archie Gray is led to believe on his way to Brentford, the club are telling Graham Smith, no, there's not. We've never heard of Brentford. He's not. He's definitely not speaking to him.
Which was not untrue.
Well, that is probably just slipped the mind. But yeah, it feels like it might just be that we announce people, which I'm actually fine with, as long as we do announce them.
Yeah,
like I'm fine with the lack of speculation, but I do want to see us. We need, how many players do we need? Even if no one left, we'd probably still need 6 or 7.
Yeah.
At this stage, not necessarily all to go straight into the first team, but there's an awful lot of squad padding needed at the moment because it's pretty thin.
Yes. We shall see. 32 days, then, eh? I'm sure it'll fall into place, I'm sure. And
I mean, the team are all in place for it now because they've obviously been able to work on outgoing deals. The backroom staff and the director of football and all that sort of stuff is in place. The ownership's has been in place for a time now, whereas last year this was all still...
Red Bull have only been in for about a month.
Hey. There we go. But yeah, that was all, at this point last year, that was all still up in the air to a degree, wasn't it? So they don't have any excuse to have not sorted stuff.
No.
I suppose is what I'm saying.
And that's part of it as well. Like we were told that Red Bull coming in was this brilliant commercial partnership that was going to allow us to do X, Y, and Z. So where's the money? Like let's see it. Let's get it out there. Let's buy some players in so that we can get out of this division. And I think if within if in a couple of weeks there aren't incomings or there aren't big whispers around incomings, people will get rightly twitchy because that's bang in the middle of pre-season. You need time to test these players and blood these players and get them all working together. And I think as well, Farke will not want to have the start of the season that he had last season, which is unlikely to happen, of course, because we've got that base, unless there are a multitude of outgoings. But it would seem to me to be a missed opportunity if with this Red Bull sponsorship, with this money coming in, that we didn't start going out and buying up some players so that we had a full season at it and not sacrifice the first month and the last month, which we did. But that was
we did that by choice.
Thing. Yeah, different thing.
Just to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
Details on reciprocal pricing just been released at the time of recording.
Tell me it.
In the last few minutes. They've capped away tickets, adult away tickets, Elland Road for 30 quid, regardless of opponent. So they've ditched the reciprocal pricing model and it's 30 quid cap, which I think is excellent.
Is that a championship-wide thing?
I don't know.
That's what it was, Premier League, wasn't it?
Yeah, they've also announced that Category B prices, with the exception of a now defunct under-11s category, newly introduced disabled adult price have been frozen for next season. So I'm just reporting that from reading that verbatim from the Yorkshire Evening Post.
Okay.
Well, so it seems to be far more sensible.
I mean, I kind of wish all tickets were capped at £30 because that seems like enough to me to pay for it. But fine. If it's just away fans, I suppose you've got to appreciate the extra expense. Although there's a lot of people travel from Norway for Leeds United home games, so I guess they should be due 30 quid as well.
Yeah, this approach falls in line with the Premier League's policy. As a club, we recognise the vital role that away supporters play at every match, and we believe in a fair and consistent pricing strategy for all football fans. We hope
which we didn't believe in last year.
We hope that we wanted to rinse the fuck out of you last year. We hope that this move will ensure our loyal supporters also pay fair and consistent prices when travelling to support the team away from home, which I think is fair enough, because then any discrepancies now fall at the door of the home club that we go visit.
Yeah.
So, it's easy to apportion blame is what I'm saying.
Okay. I mean, it is fair.
And that's the main thing.
It is fair to say that whenever we go away, though, we're always a Category A game, and they always know they'll sell it out.
Yeah.
So we do contribute. If we're looking at how much fans contribute in terms of revenue from away tickets, we would probably be the highest in the league, I would expect, because I don't think we ever fail to sell out an away end.
Yeah.
No matter whether it's 5,000 people on a Tuesday night, it will still be sold.
Well, there you go then. So, yeah, they've, with it being Wimbledon at the minute, they have batted the ball back over all the other teams, haven't they? Other stuff to keep us occupied tournaments-wise. Have a look on the website, thesquareball.net. Rob has written a blog from his adventures chasing Marcelo Bielsa. He went to Las Vegas, got very, very hot and sweaty, like temperatures north of 40 degrees, which is no place for a Yorkshireman. Thankfully, they had some sort of mega dome. It looks a little bit Death Starish, doesn't it, that stadium in Vegas? And Rob was there to witness Uruguay beat Brazil on penalties and get through to the semi-final of Copa America. You saw Marcelo Bielsa and Rafinha having a hug on more than one occasion, which made me feel full when I woke up and saw the pictures of that. I was like, we had that, didn't we?
I know. It didn't just slap you in the face, though. We didn't know how good we had it for those years when we had those two.
I know. So, yeah, Rob is now heading for, is it Charlotte in North Carolina for the semi-final, which is happening. It's... let's have a look. It's Thursday at 1 o'clock in the morning, UK time. Colombia against Uruguay. The semi-final before that is Argentina against Canada. Jesse Marsh's Canada. That's in New Jersey at the MetLife Stadium. Again, same sort of time. It's 1 in the morning, so Tuesday into Wednesday.
We will speak to Rob, hopefully, at some point.
We just need to make sure he's on some good American Wi-Fi.
I mean, the other thing is he was complaining about heat in Vegas, but did say the stadium was air conditioned, whereas the stadium,
and he had phone reception as well.
The stadium in Charlotte appears to have no cover over at any point of it. It's a completely roofless stadium.
It may not come back,
and it's due with 34 degrees, so he might just bake.
And the final, if we get that far, if Uruguay get that far, and Rob's chasing them, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida, Monday night in the early hours of the morning, so Sunday into Monday, could be the end of Rob. But yeah, bless him, Marcelo's been issuing long, brilliant quotes in the press conference as well, talking about the state of football, the sort of thing we're all dead familiar with, but the sort of thing it's hard to disagree with, isn't it? Just
someone ask him about reciprocal ticket pricing.
Oh, yeah. With that in mind, we will wrap it up there, and we will speak to you later in the week, back probably around Thursday, the other side of the Euros semi-finals, I think. Yeah. All right, we'll speak to you then.
The Square Ball Podcast.